Welcome back to the Blog Boy Roundtable. We're back for week 7 of the college football season. We've got some pretty interesting games this week, actually. Last week, a couple of them turned out into snoozers, but the Red River game was pretty fun. Did you guys get a chance to watch that? What did you think about the old Red River game? Ended up going over. I thought the under was not a bad play there by Nick and Steve, but didn't quite work out there in the end.
I mean, that started out with a banger of a first 5 minutes. Sometimes some games don't have as much and then they kind of settled in as Red River is. This is just a fun rivalry game, and I get conference realignment changes some of these, but I'm glad this at least is moving over to the SEC. But just its location at the State Fair, seeing the crimson and cream on one side and the burnt orange on the other, that's got to be a crazy atmosphere. And I mean, the game delivered. I didn't get to watch all of the game, which really stinks because the ending was a banger. But this is what you want to see. This is marquee football right here, and it's really great to see in week 6 that Oklahoma, Texas delivered. And I hate all the Texas stinks again. It's like they played a hell of a game, and
I was going to ask, does this change your opinion of either team really? Because it was pretty back and forth.
For me, not to jump in again, but for me, this changed my opinion on Oklahoma. I thought they were good. I didn't think they were this good. Right now, Oklahoma is elite and can be part of that elite. They showed they can play stout defense with that, 4th straight goal line stand. Did not expect that, but it's Brent Venables and Texas for the most part. This game could be a rematch in a couple months, so who knows what's happening there. I think both teams pretty much showed out. I'm just Oklahoma now really proved to me that they put them back amongst the elites.
Any change for you, Nathan, on these teams, or is it kind of it was kind of going to be a toss-up game, and that's just what happened?
I'm annoyed at Texas. You have your chance to really put a stamp. You beat Alabama, you cruise through September, and you have your first marquee conference game against a bitter rival to really say, yes, we're back. We are national title contenders. We are the cream of the crop. And they go out and do something stupid like this. I really, for the last 10 years, we have been Charlie Browned by Texas over and over again, and I'm getting sick of it.
What's funny though is this game we could look back on this game if both teams kind of take care of business and head into the pack or the Big 12 title game. We could look back on this game as not really mattering, because if they rematch and Texas wins, Texas, I would imagine, would get that spot in the playoff. Steve, anything from this game for you? Did you get a chance to see any of the craziness? This was right up your alley. You had some fake punts, you had block punts, and that was all in
I watched
the first 4 minutes of the game.
I watched the highlights. Fortunately and unfortunately, I had a pretty busy Saturday, so I didn't get a chance to watch any of the games live. But it's I don't think the perspective of Oklahoma or Texas has shifted at all, because it's 2 undefeated teams. One of them is going to have to lose to make it sound much more simpler than it is. But I don't think either one of these teams' trajectory has really changed, because I think they both realize, hey, this is a good win, or hey, this is kind of a bad loss. It seems far, far, far from over. I mean, for Texas at least, they still have everything to play for here. They're not going to drop too far in any rankings, and if they continue to win, they win out. They're the darling child. Oklahoma, they got to keep on pounding the rock. They got to keep on, chopping wood and prove that, this wasn't a fluke. This was Brent Venables really doing the thing. So yeah, really, I mean, it was a great, entertaining game. Learned absolutely nothing about either one of these teams. They're both good. They're both able to make stupid mistakes. It's going to come down to whoever can come out of this and win the Big 12. If no one else can compete. If West Virginia falls off the wagon a little bit, and what happens after that?
If
All right, so here's I think this is a good question to start to ease into week 7 here, but still a little bit from last week. What was the dumber decision? Mario Cristobal not taking a knee at the end of that game, or Myself, Vito, and Nick picking Kentucky plus 14.5.
Mario. It's not even close. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen a football coach team do, maybe ever. Like it's not even like you needed to get a first down to win the game. Like you just needed to kneel. Like you had it. I'll never understand
The audacity.
this.
Every time I think like I screw up something or I mess something up, there's a man in South Beach that's getting $8 million a year and he didn't kneel the ball when that's all he had to do. I would just be thinking about, it's like, did nobody ever watch the Herm Edwards highlights against the Giants when that's why you don't run the football? That's why you kneel. That's why this play exists. It's called the victory formation. And the funny thing is, the Dolphins the day after did that thing, and everyone's like, oh, are you allowed to do that? Is that something you can do? I've never seen a play. Well, one, like that wasn't even the ending, but I've never seen a coach. I don't want to use the term stupidity. I just never seen a coach do that at this level in my entire life. And I cannot believe that. I don't know. It's a bunch of people like us talking about it, and that's all that's going to happen. They're going to go, oh, we're going to move on. We're not even going to talk about the bad prevent defense they didn't play in that last play.
Yeah,
that
there was
touchdown.
A cacophony of errors there.
Listen,
heated.
Georgia Tech was going to score after that. Like there was just like, you want to talk about momentum being real? Like you're giving up a touchdown. It does not matter. You can't do something that stupid and get rewarded with a win. That's just law.
That's ball don't lie. That's just
Steve. You were like 15 shots and 18 glasses of chocolate milk deep at this point. Did you?
It was
get a chance to see this?
It was unreal because my future father-in-law is a Miami fan, and yeah. And so we were at a bar and they had like all the other games on and everything, and like I saw the Miami Georgia Tech score, and it was like there was like a minute left at that point. It was just like ticking down, and I was about to text him like, oh, like your game probably should have been, but hey, a win is a win. At least you guys won. I'm glad I stopped myself because that's painful. I'm also amazed that apparently this is the second time that it's happened to Mario Cristobal, who should have needed kneel in regulation. I think he did it when he was at Oregon against Stanford, and again ran the ball when we just kneeled it. I think the game was tied at the time, but they ended up fumbling and
3.
Yeah, it's just it's wild. And the other part that's wild to me is that hypothetical. Let's say Mario Cristobal calls in that play and says, "Hey, run halfback." Did the offensive coordinator, wide receiver coach, offensive line coach, any of the analysts, any of the players?
There's video of the offensive line coach walking up to Cristobal and the OC and saying, "Kneel," like 3 or 4 times. Kneel it. And they both look at him and just like wave him off. Yeah. So
do anything else. Call a timeout. Like if your offensive line coach is screaming at you, telling you to kneel, like there's 2 people I trust in this world. I trust fat chefs and I trust offensive line coaches.
Wow, I didn't expect
your offensive
that
line coach is screaming to kneel the ball, be like, all right, let's hear him out.
Yeah.
let's see what he has.
Yeah. So with that, Miami loses their first loss of the year. They still have not won a home conference game under Mario Cristobal. So let's move on to week 7. And Miami is actually in one of the games we're going to pick, but we're going to start out west. Game of the week. I think game day's there. Everybody's probably there. Oregon at Washington. Washington is currently a 2.5-point favorite. The total is 67.5. Vito, what did you have on this one?
So this game is going to be awesome. I'm really looking forward to this. Oregon, Washington's always a banger. They're both going to go into the Big Ten. They're both undefeated. They're trying to put a stamp on who's going to win this conference now that USC is looking a little shaky on defense. This is everything you want if you're both these teams. But I'm going to go ahead and Washington's at home, 2.5. I think they're going to go ahead and win this, and they're going to cover. I think their offense is as strong as advertised. They have 2 NFL caliber receivers. Michael Penix Jr. I've championed all season long. And I have a good old friend of mine who's a big old Washington Huskies fan who's living in California, who's probably watching this right now. And I'm going to shout him out and go, Randy, I am going with Washington Huskies -2.5 this week. I think they're going to win, and I think they're going to shine. It's going to be a good game, but they're going to come out -2.5. I love it.
Randy, that's for you. Steve, where are you going in this game? We've got one Washington pick on the board.
Yeah, it is a sexy matchup. I think everyone kind of endearingly loves Pac-12 football. To see it evaporate in front of our eyes like this is kind of sad, not to get too sentimental. Yeah, I mean, if there's a year that Oregon is finally going to do the damn thing and win a national championship and put together all the pieces and do all the right things, it's at a time where the Pac-12 is as loaded as it is. You know, they're going to have to run a gauntlet. They're going to have to beat a bunch of really, 2 really stout teams in the college football playoff. But this is not the year for Oregon. I'm going to pick Washington as well. I really, really like Washington's offense, and it seems like they're carrying a lot of momentum week in and week out. I don't see them any change of pace or any slows on their side of things. So give me Washington to win here at home.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to pick in that Washington offense. I think that receiver that was injured, McMillan, I believe, is probable for the game, so they get him back. Offense has been great. Defense has been pretty good. Not spectacular. I'm actually going to take Oregon. This is kind of a similar thought to me as last week, the Oklahoma game. I think it's kind of a toss-up, even though this isn't a neutral site like last week. I'm going to take the points. For as much love as Washington's offense has gotten by all kind of the advanced metrics, Oregon is better. So, and their defense, I think, might be a little better. Now, I think being on the road is a big factor, but I'm going to go Oregon and take the 2.5. I wish it was 3, but it's not. So I'll take Oregon. Nate, where are you going?
I'm going over 67.5. 2 really fun offenses. I really hope this thing gets pointy. It's a lot of fun to watch. Pac-12 football kind of go buck wild. I love Michael Penix. I think this is going to be another game where he can kind of put his stamp on things, and it's not just Caleb Williams in the Pac-12. He's also there. I'm excited to watch. This is probably my favorite game of the week, and probably over the last few weeks. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
We'll have to keep an eye on it while we're up in the press box. Maybe.
There's another game going on that
maybe
time.
One, yeah. We'll figure it out. I think the thing to watch here, Oregon has a pretty good passing defense by the numbers, but they also have not seen a lot of passes this year. They're 88th in passes per game defended, so they're going to see a lot, I think, on Saturday. So we shall see. Moving on to our good friend Mario Cristobal, going on the road to North Carolina. North Carolina is a 3.5-point favorite. The total is set at 57. Steeg, can you bet on that dummy Mario?
I'm going to sound like an idiot here. I'm going to do the dumbest thing of all time, and I'm going to take Miami here. When I see a coaching blunder like this, Miami was clearly the better team last week. They made a few mistakes here and there, but Miami looked better, at least from the highlights that I watched. And I just to lose on a fluke play, that sucks. That big time sucks. And I have a lot of empathy and sympathy, and I don't think that they're gonna just roll over and keel over at this point. They're capable of scoring a lot of points. Drake May is obviously lethal at North Carolina, but I think there might be some ulterior motives for Mario Cristobal and company to go out and win a big game. I don't know why. I don't know why he would need to do that right now. didn't have their athletic director sitting in at his press conference today or anything like that.
Big
So yeah,
oof.
give me Miami on the road.
Nathan, is Stieg a big old dummy like Mario Cristobal?
No, I'm doing something different this week. I've been on a bit of a rough patch just picking these games against the spreads. So these are all over under picks for me this week. I'm going under 57. I don't trust this Miami team, and only one game Miami's played in this year has gotten over that 57 number. And Tyler Van Dyke sucks. So there's also that. And I think UNC could probably get like 45 on their own. I just don't trust Miami to be good enough. And Gene Chizik maybe has the defense rolling for UNC? Question mark? Ish? Good enough?
Mark. And question mark. They have been much better. They were in USF territory previously. They are much more solid now. A nice 54th in the country in success rate on defense. So do with that what you will. Vito, we've got one Miami pick. We've got one under pick. Where are you going?
So I was looking at this. Miami scored only 20 points this past game. That's the lowest they scored all season. Before that, the previous low was 38. North Carolina, their low all season is 31. I think Miami's got something to prove. This is a home game for UNC. It is going to be at night on ABC. I think there's a lot to be said there. North Carolina is looking to prove that they're not just another pushover in the ACC, and they want to take that coveted, keep that coveted undefeated streak going. And if my record's correct, they have a 4-game win streak against Miami currently. I'm going to go ahead UNC -3.5. I toyed around with the over on this one, but Nate, you kind of pushed me a little bit that this might turn into a tumble fest for Miami if Tyler Van Dyke they can't get over this funk about that Georgia Tech game. And I just like UNC too much. It's a night game. I'm just not liking the road team here. I think my UNC is going to cover. I think Miami's a good team, but I just think this game after what happened last week is just it's just bad mojo, and I don't think they'll come up with the victory here.
Yeah, I wanted to take Miami. I initially wrote down Miami +3.5. Just I thought, with all the talk, their numbers, their metrics have been really, really good on both sides of the ball. But you go back and look through some of the games. Now, last week they were kind of the beneficiary. They were on the bad end of some turnovers. Against Texas A&M, it was the other way. There was Texas A&M turned the ball over 3 times. And, sometimes it just comes down to home field and who the better quarterback is. And I think here it's a wide margin that Drake May is a better quarterback. So I'll take North Carolina as well, -3.5. And we'll move on to kind of an under the radar game. I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it, but it should be a pretty good matchup. UCLA at Oregon State. Oregon State is a 4-point favorite at home. The total is 54.5. And I'm actually going to go under that 54.5. UCLA's defense has been really good. I think Oregon State's defense is solid, and UCLA's offense has struggled a little bit at times this year. Going on the road with the freshmen, we saw kind of what happened against Utah with that. Obviously, he's got some more reps under his belt here, but still a difficult place to play. So I'm going to go under 54.5. I think this could be kind of a slugfest. Nathan, I see you shaking your head. Is that where you're headed as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of to your point there, UCLA's defense has been pretty good this season, coupled with a freshman quarterback who's still kind of finding his sea legs. You saw kind of what Utah was able to do to that offense a few weeks ago. I think they had 9 yards rushing in that game. It's tough sledding for a freshman quarterback who, if you can't run the ball, and then on the flip side, Oregon State's a lot of fun to watch. DJ had a really good game last week, but I think UCLA's defense is good enough to slow down Oregon State. and UCLA's offense is just not quite good enough to get to that number. So, yeah, I'm taking the under 54.5 there.
Steve, where are you going on this one?
I know I was the one that proposed this game. I hated it actually, and I regretted ever mentioning that it was happening.
Sometimes the fun games to talk about are not the fun ones to pick.
Yeah, because there's so many factors in play here. I mean, Dante Moore is playing phenomenal football for a true freshman for UCLA right now. Oregon State's got the chip on their shoulder at this point. UCLA's defense looks really good. Oregon State's offense looks really good. I mean, you could pick 1,000 different narratives and storylines here. I was going to agree with you on the under 54.5. UCLA's defense, I think, is going to be probably the cornerstone piece for a winner here. But I'm against you so that hopefully I can start regaining my lead at some point and pick UCLA outright. I think Dante Moore is playing very, very good right now. And I think that he's going to be the messiah that's Caleb Williams, if you will, in Los Angeles. So give me the Bruins here.
All right, Vito. Got a couple total plays and then one pick on the Bruins. Where are you headed?
We're all over the place. We're all on the map here. I'm going to go a totally different direction. This is a game for me. I liked both defenses, but Oregon State gave up 40 to a pretty frisky Cal team, and that Cal team actually looks pretty good offensively. But UCLA it did play really, really well and it went against Washington State last week. I did not expect that to happen. Dante Moore looks good, and it looks like he will be the future. But the thing that's spinning me in this direction is a night game at Oregon State, and that is a tough place to play. Oregon State won a night game earlier this year against Utah by playing really strong defense and having timely offense. One thing to look at is both these teams defensively are giving up less than 100 yards per play or yards per game, rather, and they are both running for 200 yards per game each. So that's going to be really fun to see which rush defense can stop the other. I'm taking Oregon State -4. I think that the home atmosphere is gonna I don't want to say rattle Dante Moore, but push that offense to be more run heavy, and I think that's gonna play into Oregon State's hands. And I'm just feeling really good for the Beavers right now. I'm full on Oregon State, Washington State right now because take back the pack, baby. Oregon State, go Beavers!
All right, let's move to our off the board picks. So. I'll go first. This is one that this is a game we thought about picking. I'm a little surprised at where this line is. I'm going to take USC +2.5 at Notre Dame. Notre Dame I think they're starting to run on fumes a little bit, right? No bye that early season game. They've played a bunch of high profile games. USC's just been kind of screwing around for the whole season. But I think their ceiling is much higher than Notre Dame's, and if they hit in this game, I think they'll win outright. So give me USC +2.5. Steve, what is your off the board pick? Do you have it ready?
Yeah, I do. Again, skimming through all the lines, this one caught me by surprise, especially with how the games played out last week. Kansas only favored by 3.5 against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is exceeding my expectations that I had for them this year, but that doesn't mean that they're any good. And I don't think 3.5 really is enough for Kansas. So I'm going to take Kansas there to beat the Pokes.
Your beloved Pokes, as we found out last season. That means you've got a lot of.
They need to rip the Band-Aid off.
Let's go to Vito. What are you leaning off the board? Do you have a sicko pick this week, or are you going more mainstream?
Man, I have a sicko pick in the chamber, but there's one that's just completely surprising, especially after last week's game. Louisville -8 at Pitt. Pitt is terrible. They're horrible. And I get that Phil Dracovic is now playing tight end and whoever the quarterback. No. Louisville with Jeff Brom right now has raised that bar of that program to a completely different echelon. And the fact that -8 Come on, they are going to unless they have this ridiculous letdown after that Notre Dame win. They're trying to prove something right now. It's going to end up being between Florida State, Louisville, and North Carolina. Who expected that? I am personally rooting because they don't play each other for the 3-team undefeated tie at the end of the year and have a freaking coin flip decide this. Because no matter what happens, Florida State is not going to not be in that, by the way. Doesn't matter how that ACC is going to step in and do whatever they're going to do because well-deserved, of course.
Would it be, if you're undefeated Florida State, would it be better to not be in it?
I honestly, if you're Florida State, you'd be like, I want nothing to do with that. Get another loss. I want that guaranteed. I'm top 4. Let's go.
Nathan, are you?
Yeah, Louisville -8.
Are you going the same? Or did you have the same one?
Man, Vito. Ugh.
I'll retract that and put my sickos pick if you want that one.
No, it's fine. No, it's totally fine. I'm not picking Louisville straight up, but the -8. I'm actually going to do the under 46.5. I would have picked Louisville at -8 if homeboy Phil was still the starting quarterback because he is hot garbage, turbo butt. He's absolute toilet mate. He is quite literally the worst excuse for a quarterback I've seen in college football in a very, very long time, and I saw Matt Ploy play football.
Oh.
When Phil Jurkovich scores 2 touchdowns this week, you guys are going to feel silly.
Just wait till the tight end pass.
He is
dimes it up to go up.
He is
to make
he
it
is soft.
Philly special.
He's gonna dime one up to make it
soft.
Louisville 40, Pitt 8 right at the end of the game here. So,
and right. I just
So Nate won all totals this week. Interesting strategy. All right, so let's recap. I've got Oregon +2.5. Stieg and Vito have Washington -2.5. Nate has the over. We will also get Nick Simon's pick. He's not with us this week, but we'll get his picks and have them for next week. Vito and I have North Carolina -3.5. Nathan's got the under. Stieg has Miami +3.5 with a bounce back. Nathan and I both have under 54.5 in UCLA, Oregon. Vito's got Oregon State -4, or UCLA, Oregon State rather. Vito's got Oregon State -4. Stieg is UCLA +4. I've got USC on the road +2.5 at Notre Dame. Nate's got under 46.5 in Louisville Pitt. Vito's got Louisville side -8 against Pitt. And Stieg has Kansas -3.5 on the road at his beloved Pokes. So thank you for watching. Tell us how we did. Please leave a comment, a like, and subscribe. Help us game the YouTube algorithm. We'll be back next week with some more picks. Thanks for watching.